There is one thing no one has ever told you about solitude. It isn't solitude itself that makes you suffer. It's your escape from solitude that slowly destroys you. Look around you. How many people fill their silence with noise, notifications, empty conversations, relationships they don't even love anymore, just so they never have to sit alone with themselves? And what if I told you that a monk over 2,500 years ago had already solved this problem, long before our era turned solitude into a daily fear? Today, you're going to discover his secret. My name is Dolma, and on this channel, Buddhist Wisdom, we explore ancient teachings to bring light into your modern life. In this video, you'll learn why solitude is not a punishment, but a doorway most people keep shut out of fear. I'm going to reveal 5 Buddhist truths to you, 5 truths that many people only discover far too late in life, sometimes too late. But before we begin, if you feel this video can help you, subscribe to the channel, like the video, and share it with someone who needs to hear this today. Now, breathe and listen closely. The first truth: solitude and isolation are not the same thing. Many people confuse the two their entire lives, and that confusion causes needless suffering. Isolation is a wall. Solitude is a room. In isolation, you hide from the world because you're afraid of it. In solitude, you meet yourself again because there's nothing left in you to fear. Let me tell you a story. Over 2,500 years ago, a young prince named Siddhartha had everything: a palace, wealth, a family, servants who answered his every wish. And yet, he felt an immense lack. A lack that neither feasts, nor riches, nor even his family's love could fill. So one day, he did something very few men of his rank would have dared to do. He left it all behind: the palace, the comfort, even his family. According to Buddhist tradition, Siddhartha spent several years in asceticism and withdrawal, seeking truth far from the noise of the world. No comfort, no distraction, no one to tell him who he was supposed to be. Picture this scene for a moment. A man sitting beneath a tree, no phone to kill the boredom, no company to fill the stillness, just him and his own thoughts. And it was precisely in that stillness that he found awakening. Not in the crowd, not in temples full of disciples, in complete emptiness. Now, ask yourself an honest question. How long can you sit alone, with no phone, no noise, no distraction, before discomfort sets in? 5 minutes, 10 minutes, maybe not even 1. And that discomfort is exactly what the Buddha faced during those long years of inner searching. This is why so many people suffer today. They confuse the absence of noise with the absence of meaning. They flee their own company as if fleeing an enemy. Look at modern life. We've built thousands of tools so we never have to be alone. Social media that gives us the illusion of being surrounded 24 hours a day. Shows we binge just to fill the evening. Conversations we keep going, not out of desire, but out of fear of the quiet. But what they're really fleeing isn't these distractions. It's the questions that silence brings up. Who am I when no one is watching? What do I actually feel when no one is judging? Do I truly love my life, or am I just avoiding questioning it? These questions are uncomfortable. They unsettle. And that's exactly why most people choose never to ask them. But you, right now, are doing something different. You're listening, you're reflecting, and that's already the first step toward a more peaceful life. So hold on to this first truth. Solitude is not a prison. It's a quiet room where you can finally hear your own voice. And this question leads us straight to the second truth. A truth many people only discover after losing everything. Listen closely to what comes next, because what you're about to hear could change the way you love. The second truth: your happiness can never depend on another human being. Read that sentence again in your mind, because it contradicts almost everything modern society has taught you about love. As long as your inner peace depends on someone else's gaze, presence, or approval, you are not free. You are in debt. Let me explain why. Buddhism teaches a fundamental concept: impermanence. In Pali, it's called anicca. Everything changes. Absolutely everything. The seasons change, bodies age, feelings shift, And human relationships are no exception. People leave. Bonds transform. Even the deepest loves eventually end, one day, in separation, whether through a breakup or through death. Imagine a man who built his entire happiness around his wife. For 30 years, she was his sunlight, his reason to get up in the morning, his only source of joy. And then one day, she's gone. What's left of that man? If he never learned to be at peace with himself, only an immense lack remains, a lack he never learned to fill on his own. This is a story we see, sadly, far too often. People who, after a loss, a breakup, a divorce, find themselves completely lost, not only because of grief, but because they no longer knew who they were outside that relationship. So if your happiness rests entirely on someone else's presence, you're building your house on sand. This isn't pessimism, it's realism, and it's liberating, because the day you learn to be happy alone, nothing and no one can break you anymore. Understand me clearly. This doesn't mean you should avoid love or run from relationships. Quite the opposite. It means you must love differently. You love others not because you need them to exist, but because you choose to share your peace with them. A massive difference. A difference very few people understand before their 40s. Before a divorce, before a loss, before an immense lack they didn't know how to fill. Think of a candle. A candle already lit can light another without ever losing its own flame. That's exactly how true love should work. Two whole people who choose to share their light. Not two empty people hoping the other will fill their darkness. But there's a way to learn this long before life forces it upon you. And that's exactly what the third truth reveals. Quick pause. If this video is starting to resonate with you, drop a like. It helps this channel enormously to keep sharing this kind of wisdom. And if this is the first time you're watching, know that this is only the beginning. The third truth. In Buddhism, there's a concept called full presence. In Pali, it's called sati, being fully here, in the moment, without fleeing, without judging, without filling the lack with noise. Here's how this shows up concretely in your life. When you're alone and you feel unease, a void, an anxiety, most people grab their phone, turn on the television, call someone just so they don't have to feel that emptiness. Watch yourself the next time this happens. That small, almost automatic reflex of reaching for your phone the moment stillness becomes uncomfortable. That's no accident. It's an avoidance mechanism, deeply rooted in all of us. But that emptiness is not your enemy. It's your teacher. The Buddha taught that suffering comes from attachment. Attachment to people, to distractions, to the idea that we need something external to feel whole. There's a very simple practice monks have used for centuries. It's called observation without judgment. Here's how it works. The next time you're alone and you feel that familiar emptiness, don't run. Sit down, breathe, observe what you feel without trying to change it. Don't tell yourself, I should feel better. Don't tell yourself this feeling is bad. Just observe. As if you were watching a cloud pass across the sky. It's there. Then it moves on, without you needing to fight it. That's where true transformation begins. Not in avoidance, but in fully accepting the present moment. At first, this can be uncomfortable, even frightening, because we've spent years, sometimes even decades, running from this feeling. But with practice, something remarkable happens. That emptiness starts to feel familiar, then calming, and eventually, almost pleasant. Monks who have practiced meditation for many years often describe this moment as liberation. They no longer try to escape solitude. They welcome it, like an old friend. But careful. What you've just learned is still only the surface, because the fourth truth touches something far deeper, something even advanced practitioners take years to understand. Stay with me. The fourth truth. When you're alone, you no longer have to play a role. Think for a moment about all the versions of yourself you show every day. The version you show your family, the version you show at work, the version you show your friends, the version you show online. All these versions are masks, not out of dishonesty, but because the way others see us shapes us without our even realizing it. Buddhism calls this attachment to ego. In Pali, Anatta teaches that there is no fixed, permanent self. What you call me shifts depending on who's watching. Think about it. Are you exactly the same person around your parents as around your closest friends? Are you exactly the same person at work as when you're alone at home in the evening with no one watching? Probably not, and that's not a flaw. It's simply human, but in solitude, the masks fall away. There's no one left to impress, no one left to reassure, no one left to prove anything to. And that's unsettling for many people, because without a mask, they no longer know who they are. This is exactly why so many people avoid solitude at all costs. Not because they hate being alone, but because being alone forces them to look at themselves without a filter, and for many, that confrontation feels more intimidating than any social situation. But that's exactly where true freedom lies. Learning to be happy alone means learning to meet the version of you that exists without an audience. The one who isn't performing, the one who isn't seeking approval, the one who doesn't care about outside judgment. That version is the only one of you that is truly free. There's an ancient practice used by monks for centuries to reconnect with that authentic version of yourself. It simply involves spending time alone, regularly, without distraction, without any particular goal. Not to accomplish something, not to be productive, just to be. Some call it a silent retreat. Others simply call it a moment of quiet reflection. The name doesn't matter. What matters is the intention behind it. Finding yourself again, without filter, without mask, without an audience. And if you think you've already grasped the essence of this video, wait until you discover the fifth truth, because it brings all the others together and raises them to a level very few people ever reach. The fifth truth, solitude, fully lived, doesn't lead to a closed-off heart. It leads to a purer capacity to love. In Buddhism, this is often called metta, loving kindness. But here's what few people understand. You can only offer true love from a heart that is already at peace. Think about this for a moment. If you're looking for someone to fill a lack inside you, you don't truly love them. You need them. And need is not love. It's dependency in disguise. Look around you. How many relationships are built, not on true love, but on the fear of ending up alone? People who stay in relationships that no longer make them happy, simply because the idea of being without company terrifies them more than the idea of staying unhappy. This is one of the quietest tragedies of our time. But once you've learned to be alone, at peace, without lack, without fear of the stillness, everything changes. Then, when you love someone, you no longer love them to fill a hole. You love them for who they truly are, freely, without expectation, without destructive attachment. Imagine two people who have each made peace with their own solitude. They meet. They choose to share their lives, not because they can't survive without each other, but because they choose, every day, to walk together. That is a relationship of an entirely different quality. Lighter, freer, deeper, paradoxically, because it rests on no dependency at all. This is the summit of the Buddhist path toward happy solitude, not fleeing others, but becoming able to love them without ever depending on them. This is why some monks live in a peace most people will never know, not because they are alone, but because they made peace with their own company before opening their hearts to others. Now, take a moment. Think back on the 5 truths we've walked through together. The first, which taught you to tell solitude apart from isolation. The second, which showed you that your happiness must never depend entirely on another human being. The third, which taught you the art of welcoming emptiness rather than fleeing it. The fourth, which revealed that solitude allows you to remove every mask you wear. And the fifth, which showed you that solitude lived well leads to a purer, freer, truer kind of love. These 5 truths are not separate. They are 5 steps of one single staircase. A staircase monks have climbed for thousands of years, and a staircase you too can begin to climb, starting today, not tomorrow, not when life forces you to, after a loss, a divorce, an immense lack, but now, while you still have the choice. If this video has touched you, subscribe to Buddhist Wisdom. Every week, we share new ancient wisdom to help you move through modern life with more calm and more clarity. And before you go, I'd like to leave you with something different this time. Not a like, not a share. A small ritual just for you. Close your eyes for 3 seconds. Take one slow breath in, and as you breathe out, silently offer yourself a little kindness, the way you would to a dear friend. Then, if you'd like, open your eyes and write these words in the comments as a quiet promise to yourself. Write, "Today, I let my own presence be enough." Take your time writing it, not for me, for you. Take care of yourself. And above all, take care of the person you are when no one else is watching. See you soon on Buddhist Wisdom.